Discovered, the incredible 125M legacy left by my grandpa 15 years after abandoning my family. Emma poured another cup of coffee, the warm aroma swirling around the diner like a comforting hug. It was just another Sunday in Willow Creek, where the sun streamed through the dusty windows of May's diner, illuminating the booths filled with families enjoying the traditional potluck after church. But today felt different, charged with an electricity that buzzed beneath the surface. It was the very day she could unravel the tightly wound threads of her life. While serving pie, Emma caught snippets of gossip from the regulars. "Can you believe Charlie's taken on 2 jobs just to keep his family afloat?" Someone whispered. Another remarked, "I'd give anything to have a leg up like the Old Town slogan says." She felt a pang in her heart, doing her best to keep her mind off the weight of her own burdens, taking care of May, her ailing mother. "We got each other," her mom always said, but Emma couldn't shake the feeling of making it alone. The picture of her estranged grandfather, a dusty relic of abandonment, haunted them. This afternoon, curiosity itched at her. She pulled away from the diner, heading home. The attic was a forgotten world filled with old boxes and memories. Sunlight filtered through the cracks, illuminating the dust motes as she rummaged through heap after heap. Then, she found it a worn box labeled family. Inside lay an old brown envelope, her hands trembled as she opened it. What she discovered turned her life upside down. A trust fund. Her grandfather had left behind $125 million. The words felt surreal, echoing in her mind. The man everyone called a failure had left them a life-changing fortune. Emma's heart raced. A ticket to uplift her community? Or would it be a betrayal? Her mother, May, had always been angry at the man who walked away. How could Emma bridge the chasm between family loyalty and the needs of the town? She sat stunned, fear gripping her. This was knowledge that could break her family apart. As weeks sped by, the news leaked out. The townsfolk buzzed with excitement mixed with skepticism. Conversations sparked debates on privilege, hard work versus luck. Emma felt the anxiety build up like a tight knot in her chest. Was she meant to handle this alone? She had inherited not just money but a heavy burden that pushed and pulled at her heartstrings. Her dreams to help others soon felt overshadowed by the fears of being seen as an outcast at home. The whispers grew louder, doubts creeping in. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a heavy heart, Emma stood before the town council, the weight of her grandfather's legacy heavy on her shoulders. She had to face the town, the community that had raised her, to share her discovery. This can change everything, she declared. But the room was thick with tension. Eyes flickered, not all were supportive. Others echoed doubt. Was she worthy of such a fortune? Just as she began to feel the cracks appearing in her resolve, a letter arrived, sealed and neatly addressed. The truth waited to be unveiled, shifting the ground beneath her. Could she ever quell the storm inside her, or was her family bound to repeat a painful history? Emma felt the very essence of her life transform in an instant. Would this fortune heal her family, or would it tear hope apart in the pursuit of an uncertain future? Emma stared at the letter in her hand, her heart pounding as anticipation and dread collided within her. The seal felt heavy, a reminder of the weighty expectations weighing down on her shoulders. She could hear the murmurs of the townsfolk behind her, their voices swirling like a storm, echoing her own fears. What did this letter say? What truth lay hidden inside? Taking a deep breath, she tore open the envelope, her fingers trembling. The paper felt crisp and foreign, as if it belonged to another world. As she scanned the handwritten words, a mix of disbelief and confusion coursed through her. The letter explained the intention behind her grandfather's fortune, a mission not just to be wealthy, but to connect with the family he had left behind. I wanted to bridge the gap, it read. Help those in need, but more importantly, help you find what truly matters. Each word hit hard, resonating deep within her. It wasn't just a pile of money, it was a chance to mend broken ties, to build anew. A wave of anger surged through her. How dare he? After all these years of pain, he had left this behind as though it could fix the shattered past. That as she processed it all, echoes of May's words flitted through her mind, we got each other. Could she truly embrace this unexpected legacy without losing her sense of self or family? The anger turned to resolve. This was her chance to reclaim his absence and defy his ghosts. But how? Who would support her in this venture? Determined to find clarity, Emma decided to meet with the town's elder, Mr. Thompson. Known for his wisdom, his voice had guided many during tough times. She arrived at his bookstore, the scent of aging paper and fresh coffee wrapping around her like a warm blanket. Mr. Thompson looked up from behind the counter, his eyes searching hers as if they could read the turmoil brewing within. Emma, he smiled, but the warmth faded when he saw her expression. What's wrong? I found a letter from my grandfather, she confessed, her voice shaking. He left me a fortune and it's more complicated than I thought. Mr. Thompson gestured for her to sit. As she unraveled her thoughts and fears, he listened intently, a steady presence amidst her chaos. Money can be a gift or a curse, he finally said. It reflects who we are. Will you choose to uplift your community or be weighed down by guilt? The simplicity of his words struck deep. Her grandfather sought connection, not just a monetary solution. Emma felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Perhaps this was more than just an inheritance, it was an opportunity to become the family leader she had never imagined she'd be. As the evening light stole into the bookstore, illuminating the dust dancing in the air, Emma felt a flicker of possibility. She could gather the community, offer support where it was needed most, and in doing so, carve her own path, healing old wounds along the way. Yet uncertainty still clouded her heart. What would May say? And what if the townspeople suspected her motives were not pure? With these questions looming, Emma walked back home feeling both stronger and more afraid than ever before. As she approached the familiar creak of the porch, another letter slipped through the mailbox. The return address sent shivers down her spine. It was from a lawyer in the city, and it was stamped with an unsettling urgency. What did this new letter mean for what she was planning? Emma's heart raced with the realization that there were more layers to this legacy than she had first imagined. The past was not finished with her yet. Emma stood frozen on her porch, the new letter clutched tightly in her hand. The daylight was fading, casting long shadows across the yard. She felt trapped between two worlds: the present, with its weighty expectations, and the past, still echoing with unresolved pain. Taking a deep breath, she urged herself to move. This was her moment, a crossroads of sorts. She stepped inside her house, the familiar walls wrapping around her like an old friend. Yet, it felt different today. The air was thick with tension, and uncertainty clung to her like autumn mist. She slid into her kitchen, the faint smell of coffee lingering. The cup from breakfast still sat on the table, untouched, and she saw herself in its half-full reflection. The girl she had once been, wrapped in dreams that felt simple and sweet compared to the storm swirling within now. With shaking hands, she opened the letter from the lawyer. The crisp paper felt colder than the autumn breeze outside. Each word jumped out at her, insisting on her attention. There were terms she'd never encountered: trust, estate, formal proceedings. But one phrase jolted her more than the others: necessary beneficiaries. Under that sentence, it boldly stated that participation from all family members was crucial to take any further steps regarding the estate. Her heart sank. This wasn't just about her and the future, this was about everyone who once shared her grandfather's name, everyone he had abandoned. Thoughts of her estranged relatives surged like a tidal wave, memories of family reunions turned sour, whispers of regret, and secrets left unsaid. What if they were not ready to embrace the fortune? A sharp ache gripped her chest, she gripped the table, steadying herself. Was there even a point in trying to gather them? Would they see her as a fraud or simply an opportunist? If she decided to reach out, she could open old wounds, confront family ties that had frayed over the years. And if she hid, she might lose the chance to create something beautiful from her grandfather's mistakes. Just then, May appeared at her side, holding a steaming mug. "You okay?" she asked softly, concern lacing her words. Emma forced a smile. "Just, processing a lot." May's eyes drifted to the letter, her brow furrowing. "It's about the money, isn't it?" "Not just the money," Emma replied. "It's about the connections. It's about family. The letter it's saying I need to involve everyone, and I don't know if I'm ready for that." May's presence felt grounding. "You're stronger than you think. You've always wanted to fix things. Maybe this is your chance." But Emma felt the gravity of May's words, the delicate balance of hope and fear swirling in her heart. "What if I reach out, and they want nothing to do with me?" "Then at least you know you tried," May said, her voice unwavering. "You can't carry your grandfather's sins, but you can write a new story together, one that includes everyone." Emma wanted to believe that. She wanted to believe that love and forgiveness could patch the wounds that felt too deep to heal. She glanced at the letter again, the words woven with the promise of a new beginning. Encouraged by May's faith in her, Emma decided she wouldn't shy away from this. Hope surged within her, intertwined with dread, an intricate dance of life and loss. Now the challenge loomed, how to gather the family and confront the ghosts of the past. And would they unite in the shadow of their shared legacy, or would it drive them apart once more? With every ounce of courage she could muster, Emma whispered to herself, "I have to try." The setting sun spilled warmth across her face, igniting a flicker of determination that pushed the fear to the back of her mind. But with this newfound resolve, one question lingered in the air like a storm on the horizon: who would really show up when she called? Emma stared at the letter once more, the crisp parchment reflecting the bright hues of the setting sun. Her heart raced as she considered her next steps. Could she really face the past and reach out to her estranged relatives? The thought alone sent a shiver down her spine. She wanted to part the cloud of doubts and fears, but the memories of hardened faces and bitterness were too vivid. "Okay," she said aloud, steeling her nerves. "I can do this." It would start with a call. Just one call to set the wheels in motion. The thought of it felt as daunting as climbing a mountain. Emma took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment. The names swirled in her mind: Aunt Lily, Uncle Frank, even her half-brother Tom, who had probably forgotten she existed. Each name a thread, tangled with emotions and echoes of what could have been. She reached for her phone, the cool glass sending a little jolt through her. May's reassuring presence lingered beside her. "You want me to be here?" she asked gently, sensing Emma's hesitation. "No," Emma shook her head. "I have to do this alone. It's my family. I need to face them on my own terms." May nodded, giving her the space she needed without leaving entirely. She leaned against the doorway, silently offering support. With her heart pounding, Emma scrolled through her contacts, her fingers trembling as they hovered over familiar names. After a moment, she selected Aunt Lily's number. The vibrant, fierce woman who had once been a constant in her life. Emma felt a rush of nostalgia, remembering the Sunday dinners filled with laughter, the stories of their family's mishaps, and the warmth that enveloped them like a blanket. She hit call, feeling her stomach twist into a knot. Once. Twice. On the third ring, a voice answered. "Lily?" "Emma." "Oh my gosh, it's been ages." Lily's voice was vibrant and filled with surprise, but the edge of uncertainty was also present. "Yeah, it has," Emma replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Listen, I know this is out of the blue, but I received a letter from a lawyer about Grandpa's estate." The silence on the line was heavy. Emma could almost hear Lily's brain racing. "The estate? What does that mean? What do you need?" Emma took a shaky breath, mindful of every word. I think we need to gather everyone. I know it's been so long, but I hope we can come together. There's a lot to discuss. I don't know, Emma. Lily's voice cracked like dry ground. After everything I understand, Emma interjected before the wall could build further. But this could be a chance to reconnect, to heal. Just, what if we do this together? It felt like reaching into the unknown, vulnerable and exposed. But as Emma spoke, something shifted, an echo of hope flared in her chest. I'll think about it, Lily replied, still cautious, but there was a hint of longing in her voice. Please, let me process this. Okay, Emma breathed, relief flooding her. Just please, let me know what you decide. They hung up without promises but with a deeper appreciation for the weight of what lay ahead. Emma's heart pounded, a mix of excitement and dread washing over her. Reaching out hadn't been easy, but it had sparked something within her. Did it go well? May asked as Emma stepped back into the kitchen, her hands shaking from the rush. Better than I expected, Emma admitted, the words escaping her before she fully realized their significance. She's going to think about it. Good. May smiled, a lightness returning to the space. One step closer, right? Emma nodded, a sense of determination building. But as she settled at the table, her thoughts shifted back to the others, the missed connections, the broken ties. Would they be willing to meet her halfway? Questions buzzed in her mind like bees. How many voices would she hear on the line next? Would they welcome her with open arms, or would they be cold, packing the distance of years into their words? Even as she felt an inkling of hope, doubt shadowed every thought. The distance between them was more than miles, it was years of lost time, and then, her phone buzzed again, a message. She hesitated, her breath catching. Who could it be? As she unlocked her phone and saw the name flashing on the screen, a twist of anxiety settled deep within her. But what she didn't expect was how this message would set off a chain of events that would unravel even deeper secrets from the past. Emma stared down at her phone, the message still glowing on the screen as if it held all the answers to the questions swirling in her mind. The name popped out at her, gleaming like a warning sign. It was Tom, her half-brother. They hadn't spoken in years. He had been the wild card in the family. Would he respond with anger, confusion, or indifference? With a shaky hand, she opened the message. Hey Emma. I heard from Aunt Lily about the estate. I can't remember much about Grandpa, but I think we need to talk. Call me. A rush of emotions crashed over her. She felt a knot form in her throat, a mix of relief and dread. This was it, another chance to mend things, to bring the pieces of their shattered family together. But what if this was just another dead end? Tom had always been unpredictable. Wow, May whispered, peering over Emma's shoulder at the screen. This is big. You should call him. Yeah, but what if he just wants to drag up old grudges? What if he is both angry and hurt about everything? Emma bit her lip, the uncertainty squeezing her heart tight. True, but it could be a step towards healing, May offered, her voice steady, encouraging. He might need this as much as you do. Just think about it, this could be your moment. Emma took a breath, weighing her options. The weight of years rushed back to her, a void filled with missed birthdays, no family gatherings, the absence of knowing each other's lives. Okay, she finally said, her voice steadier than she felt. I'll call him. May gave her a supportive nod before stepping back, allowing Emma space to process. Shifting her weight, Emma's heart began to pound again as she selected Tom's name. As the phone rang, she closed her eyes momentarily, praying for strength. The ringing stopped, replaced by his voice, deep and tinged with surprise. Emma? Wow, what is going on? Tom, I just wanted to talk about the estate. I know it's a lot to bring up, and it's been years, but Aunt Lily reached out, and it seems like we might have something to sort out together. There was a pause, the silence stretching out as if he were choosing his words carefully. Yeah, I heard. Weird how it's all coming up after so long, right? What do you think about it all? I think it could be a chance to reconnect, Emma said, every word laced with trepidation and hope. I'd like to gather everyone, if you're interested. Reconnecting, huh? Sounds a little too optimistic for my taste, he chuckled, but it was dry. Still, I guess it couldn't hurt to meet. What's the worst that could happen? That was the cynical Tom she remembered, but beneath the humor lay something deeper, something almost vulnerable. Thanks, Tom. We can take this slow. I just don't want to lose any more time, Emma admitted, her vulnerability spilling over the edge, but just as she felt a flicker of hope building, his next words took her by surprise. Emma, there is something you should know about Grandpa, something I don't think most of us understood. Her pulse quickened, each beat echoing against her ribs. What do you mean? I'll tell you when we meet. There's a lot that has never been said about his past. And it might change how you see everything. His words hung in the air, a heavy promise of revelation. Emma swallowed hard. What could it be? What truths had been buried along with the years of silence? I can't wait to hear it, Tom, she replied, heart racing. Let us find a time to meet soon. As they hung up, Emma felt her head spinning. This was only the beginning, a doorway cracked open to something greater. The knot of fear and hope twisted tighter inside her, urging her to seek answers. How deep did the family's secrets run? What truths had been left untouched, and what other family members would be pulled into this unfolding drama? She felt the stirring of something larger than herself, an inheritance of history. Emma picked up her phone, fingers trembling with anticipation again. Her next call would be critical. She inhaled deeply and braced for the next step. Who would she call next, and what would they uncover together? The past demanded to be heard, and Emma was finally ready to listen. Emma sat on her small couch, the sunlight filtering in through the window, casting soft patterns on the floor. She could feel the weight of the day pressing down, the thrill of uncertainty swirling within her. After that emotionally charged call to Tom, the walls around her house felt both comforting and constricting. She glanced at her phone again, the vibrancy of the screen reflecting her emotional turmoil. Who to call? Deciding to reach out to Uncle Bill felt like the right move. He'd always been the quiet pillar in the family, the one who had tried to hold the pieces together through all the chaos. If anyone could shed light on what they might be facing, it would be him. Emma tapped Uncle Bill's name and took a breath, the very act making her heart race. The phone rang, and she hoped he'd pick up quickly. Hello. His voice broke through, gruff but warm, like a hug wrapped in familiarity. Hi, Uncle Bill. It's Emma, she said, trying to mask her nerves. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Not at all. Just sipping my morning coffee. How are you? Good, I think. But I'm calling because, well, you probably heard about the estate. There was a slight pause before he replied, your Aunt Lily told me. It's been many years since we sat down to talk about Grandpa and everything that happened. It sounds like there's more to this than just the property. Yes, she hesitated. Tom reached out to me. He mentioned there are things about Grandpa's past, things we don't know. Tom did he? Uncle Bill mused. Yes, right, there are family secrets which I thought never mattered. But as I've grown older, I realize how the past can shape our understanding of the present in ways we might not expect. Emma felt a wave of confusion, excitement, and a nagging sense of dread. What do you mean? Just that there are things I've carried with me, Emma. Things about your grandfather moving away, leaving the family. His reasons were buried deeper than just a desire to escape. The revelation hit her like a punch to the gut. Why had no one ever spoken about this before? What was it, Uncle Bill? It might be best if we talked in person. There are stories that demand to be told face to face. I wouldn't want to tell you on the phone. When do you want to meet? Emma's mind raced. How about this weekend? I'll bring some coffee. Deal. And Emma? Yes. Whatever you think you know about your grandfather, be prepared for surprises. When she hung up the call, her heart pounded with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. This was becoming more than just a simple family meeting. It was a chance to excavate buried truths, a chance to heal and understand where they all came from, who they were. Days passed, and when Saturday rolled around, Emma stood in front of the mirror. She smoothed her hair and dressed carefully, wanting to look like the adult she was now, a stark contrast to the little girl waiting for Uncle Bill to sweep into her life on golden days, teaching her how to build model airplanes. Driving to the coffee shop, her thoughts raced. Would Uncle Bill's revelations completely change how she viewed her family? The air in the shop was fragrant, thick with the aroma of ground coffee beans and a hint of pastry sweetness. When she saw him at the corner table, looking the same despite the years, her heart ached with the love and pain of 1,000 memories. "Hey, Uncle Bill!" she called, striding toward him. That he looked up with a smile that felt like home, but the weight of what they were about to discuss loomed larger than ever. As she settled in, anticipation coursed through her veins. How deep did these secrets run? And what would she learn that day? "I'm ready," she thought, gripping her mug tightly. But what if the truth sent ripples through everything she thought she knew about her family? Emma took a shaky breath. This revelation was only the beginning. Emma sat across from Uncle Bill, her fingers nervously traced patterns on her coffee cup. "So, what is going on with Grandpa?" she asked, cutting straight to the chase. Uncle Bill's expression turned serious. "It's a complicated story, Emma. Your grandfather wasn't just a man who left an estate behind, he was a man with a life full of unexpected twists." She leaned forward, heart racing. "What do you mean? What did he leave us?" He hesitated, searching for words. "It isn't just about material things. It goes deeper." He took a sip of his coffee, the steam curling into the air between them like an unspoken tension. "Years ago, your grandfather made some choices. Choices that impacted all of us, in ways we never understood." Emma swallowed hard. "What choices, Uncle Bill?" "There were investments, properties, relationships." He looked down, the weight of his words pressing visibly on his shoulders. "There was a woman in his life before your grandmother. A woman he loved deeply. The family was broken because of that love and the decisions he made." Emma blinked, trying to absorb the unexpected information. "I don't understand. Why didn't anyone say anything?" "Because, sometimes, silence feels safer than the truth. Your grandma kept the past buried, convincing herself it was best." He paused, his gaze drifting to the window, as if searching for courage. "But now that he has passed, the secrets are surfacing like old ghosts." Her mind raced. Did he leave everything to this woman? No, but he left her shares, properties, a legacy worth much more than we imagined. Uncle Bill's voice dropped, laced with a tinge of regret. "And that legacy will come to you and others closely connected to him." A rush of anxiety filled Emma's chest. The idea of an incredible fortune tied to a man she hardly knew felt surreal. "What do we do with it?" "We must decide how to honor his memory, Emma. Do we embrace the past and its pain, or do we choose to distance ourselves from it?" His eyes searched hers, looking for understanding. Emma's heart raced as she envisioned all the possibilities. What if we choose to embrace it? What if this is our chance to rewrite our family story? Bill chuckled gently. "You have a spirit like your grandmother, you know that? Brave and resilient. But remember, there will be challenges. Some family members may not react kindly to what's uncovered." She chewed her lip, thinking of her brother, of her mother. "So, we might be pulling them into something they're not ready for." "Exactly. But remember this, sometimes walking into the light means uncovering shadows." His words hung in the air, heavy with truth. It sounded like a warning, a call to tread carefully. Emma took a deep breath, working to piece her feelings together. Could she really face the legacy that came with all this pain and history? And then, like a sudden jolt, an image of Tom flickered in her mind. Was he part of this legacy too? Would he help her confront this unknown world? I need to talk to Tom, she said suddenly, her resolve hardening. He needs to be part of this. Do you think he'll understand? Uncle Bill asked, skepticism lining his voice. I think he has a right to know, especially if this affects both our families. As Uncle Bill nodded, Emma felt a warmth in her chest. This journey could lead to healing not just for her, but for everyone involved. She had to be brave, she had to face whatever lay ahead. As their meeting drew to a close, Uncle Bill leaned closer, his voice low. Just remember, Emma, every legacy left behind brings its own battles. Are you ready? Ready or not, I'm going, she replied, determination rising within her, but as she left the coffee shop, a question nagged at her: what other dark secrets waited to be unveiled? Emma glanced down the street, uncertain yet invigorated, knowing that the journey had only just begun. Emma's heart raced as she stepped into the bustling street outside the coffee shop, her mind swirling like autumn leaves caught in a brisk wind. She had to find Tom, and fast. This unveiling could change everything, not just for her, but for their families intertwined in ways they had yet to comprehend. She pulled out her phone, fingers shaking as she searched for his contact. Each number felt tethered to her anxiety, her excitement bubbling beneath the surface. With shaking breath, she pressed the green dial button. The phone rang endlessly, her heart pounding in sync with each tone. Finally, Tom's voice broke through the static. Hey, Em. Tom. Can we meet? I need to talk. It's urgent about my grandfather. Right now? He sounded surprised. Sure, where? Let's south go to the park, the one by your house. Please. She ended the call and took a steadying breath. The park, quiet yet vibrant with the scent of blooming flowers, felt like the perfect place for such weighty news. The sun hung lower in the sky, casting a golden hue that softened the edges of her fear. As she walked, memories of Tom flickered through her mind, their childhood adventures, whispered secrets, and laughter that echoed like music around them. He was her ally, she could lean on him. She needed to hear his thoughts, especially now when everything felt so uncertain. When she reached the park, she spotted him sitting on a bench, his back straight as if his world had just done a somersault. Just seeing him calmed her nerves. She approached, feeling a tapestry of emotions weaving together: hope, fear, curiosity. Hey, she said as she settled beside him. Thanks for coming. Tom turned to her, his brow furrowed. What is going on? Emma hesitated, the words heavy on her tongue. It's about my grandfather. Uncle Bill just told me some really surprising stuff. Tom leaned in, eyes widening. Surprising how? Surprising like he had another life before my grandma. There was a woman he loved, and when he died, he left behind more than just possessions. There's a legacy, a huge legacy, and it's tied to decisions I can't fully understand yet, she said, breathless, the weight of the implications spilling from her lips. You're talking about money? He asked, incredulous. Emma nodded. Yeah, but it's more than that. This money connects us to a past we didn't know. There might be secrets that could change everything. Tom was quiet, letting her words sink in. And you want to dig into all that? I have to. I can't just ignore it. I want to honor my grandfather's memory, but I also want to make sure we're prepared for whatever comes next. I need you to help me, to stand by me. She looked at him, hoping to see the support she craved. After a long moment, he finally spoke. You know I'm always in your corner, right? Relief flooded through her like sunlight breaking through clouds. I know, she whispered. Before they could settle into a comfortable conversation, Tom's phone buzzed, breaking their moment. He glanced at the screen, his expression twisting into concern. Emma, it's my dad. I have to take this. Go ahead, she said, feeling a twinge of fear as he walked a short distance away to talk. As she sat there, her heart racing, would this be just the first layer uncovered? The sun began to slip behind a cloud, dimming her hopeful glow. What if their families weren't just interlinked by money, but by darker, deeper truths she wasn't prepared for? As Tom rejoined her, his expression was serious, the phone still in his hand. "We need to go home. Something's come up." In that moment, an icy chill slithered through her. What else awaited them? "Let us go," she replied, unease knotting in her stomach. She could feel it, this was just the beginning. Emma's heart thudded in her chest as she and Tom walked towards his car. The sun had vanished completely now, leaving behind a twilight that felt heavy with unspoken words. She glanced sideways at him, searching for clues in his troubled expression. "What did your dad say?" Tom rubbed the back of his neck, clearly grappling with something. "There's been a situation at home. Something about the family business. He didn't give me a lot of details, but it sounded serious." "What kind of situation?" The words tasted sharp in her mouth, prickling her anxiety. "Is everyone okay?" "Yeah, I think so. But he wants me to come home right away. You know how my dad can be, he tends to blow things out of proportion. Or maybe he knows that things are more intertwined than we realize," Emma said, her voice trembling slightly. Tom nodded, but the shadow of doubt lingered in his eyes. They reached the car and as he unlocked it, she took a deep breath, steadying herself. Letting the events unfold without her input felt wrong. What if this is connected to my grandfather's legacy? What if it's about that woman he loved? Why would your grandfather's past affect your family now? Tom asked incredulously, sliding into the driver's seat. "I don't know," she replied, frustration bubbling up. "But everything seems tied to that money, those secrets Uncle Bill mentioned. If something's up at your house, maybe it has to do with it." Tom stared out at the road, deep in thought. They pulled into motion, the headlights catching the first stars of a chilly evening. Emma felt a mix of dread and determination curling inside her. "Let us get to your house," she said. "We should find out what's happening. I want to be in the loop about everything." His lips pressed into a thin line but he didn't respond. As they drove, the atmosphere shifted. The towering oaks lining the road began to look ominous against the dusk, casting long shadows that felt almost foreboding. "What if we're not just uncovering your grandfather's secrets?" Tom finally voiced, his tone changing as if he were rethinking everything. "What if digging into this brings more trouble for our families?" Emma swallowed hard. "You mean like old enemies?" "What if exactly?" Tom interrupted. "What if there's something in that legacy that puts us at risk?" A chill crept into her spine. As if on cue, his phone buzzed again, alerting them to another unfolding issue. This time, it was a text. He frowned at the screen, his body tensing. "My dad says we have to hurry. He mentioned someone else being involved." "What does that mean?" Emma pressed, her heart racing once more. "I don't know, but my gut says it means we'll end up tangled in something deeper than we imagined." Silence enveloped them as they arrived at Tom's house. Shadows danced around the property, and a flickering porch light cast eerie shapes across the lawn. They stepped out, suspicion thick in the air. "Let us get this over with," Emma said, emboldened despite her unease. They crossed the threshold, stepping into what felt like an ominous gathering storm. "Just stay close," Tom whispered as they entered the living room, where his parents were already waiting, expressions carved with concern. "Good, you're here," his father said, his tone brimming with urgency. "We need to talk about something that's going to change everything." At that moment, Emma's heart sank. This wasn't just about her grandfather anymore. What had they stumbled into? The room held more secrets than she and Tom knew, and she feared that with every answer, they might unearth more chaos than they could handle. "Let us sit down," his mother said, her voice trembling slightly. "This is important." Emma glanced at Tom, both anxious and ready. They were in deep now, and the unexpected might just fracture their lives beyond repair. And with that, the doors swung wide open to revelations they weren't prepared for. What truth awaited them just inside. As Emma and Tom settled into the living room, the tension was palpable. The air hung thick with the weight of unspoken words. Sitting across from Tom's parents, Emma could feel their anxiety radiate around the room. "What is going on?" she asked, urgency stitching her voice. Tom's dad took a deep breath, eyes darting between them before he spoke. "It's about your grandfather's estate." Emma knew it. Every time someone mentioned the estate, she felt the disguised currents of history tugging at her. "Is there a problem?" she managed, her heart quickening. "An old partner of your grandfather has resurfaced," Tom's mom added, her voice trembling. "And not just anyone, Victor Martinez. He was deeply involved with your grandfather before he left." Emma's mind raced. Victor Martinez, a name that echoed in the corridors of her fragmented family history. Uncle Bill had mentioned shadows lurking with this legacy. Why does his return matter? Tom's dad leaned forward, the urgency intensifying. "Because he claims he has rights to a portion of the estate. He believes your grandfather made promises that were never honored." Emma's stomach twisted, knotted tight with the realization that they were entangled in a complex web spun years ago. "What kind of promises?" "We don't know the specifics," Tom's mom replied, her voice shaking. "But Victor seems intent on obtaining what he believes is his, and he's not shy about making threats." "A storm's brewing," Tom muttered under his breath, and Emma could see the tension in his shoulders. "So, what do we do?" Emma pressed, hope wrestling with fear as she searched their faces for answers. Tom's dad shifted, the weight of responsibility clearly etched into his brow. "We need to tackle this together. We can't let him come between our families again." But preparing for a confrontation might be necessary. Fear ricocheted inside Emma. But what if he pushes? What if we're powerless against him? Tom's dad held her gaze. "You won't be powerless. You have us, and we need to gather the rest of the family. We need strength in numbers." Consent washed over Emma, encouragement mingling with apprehension. "Tom and I found out we're not alone in this. There's much more to our family than we thought, and I don't want anyone beside us to feel left out. Even if it means pulling back those thorny vines of history." Tom asked quietly, concern etched in his features. "Especially then," she replied fiercely. "This legacy isn't just about money, it's a chance to mend the past, to heal wounds we didn't realize existed." As they laid out their plan, every voice resonated with a collective resolve that sparked warmth in the chilly room. They decided to call a family gathering. It was time to share the truth and fight back against Victor together. Days passed like a whirlwind until the fateful evening arrived. Emma felt the butterflies flit chaotically in her stomach as she prepared for the gathering. Each family member had agreed to meet, a coalition born from silent understanding, buoyed by Emma's newfound courage. The warmth of the setting sun cast golden light through the living room windows when the first family member arrived, Uncle Bill, followed by Aunt Lily and several others. Emma's heart swelled. "Thank you for coming," she greeted, her voice shaking slightly. As the room filled, she couldn't help but feel the weight of what was about to unfold. Faces once familiar now felt like strangers plagued by years of silence. "We're here for family," Tom declared, standing beside her as his voice carried strength, bolstering Emma's resolve. "And we're stronger together." As the air thickened with emotion, Emma began to speak, sharing the history Uncle Bill had unveiled. The room listened in rapt silence, feelings of old wounds and dashed hopes intertwining amongst them. "Your grandfather faced choices that hurt all of us," Emma pointed out softly, looking at each familiar face. "But what if we try to understand those choices instead of pushing them away? What if we let those secrets guide us toward healing rather than further division?" Aunt Lily shifted slightly in her seat. "But what about Victor? He's not coming in with good intentions." Tom chimed in, "We'll confront him as a family. But we also need to confront our own fears and fragmented pasts. With every voice that chimed in, the room seemed to breathe a little easier. Emma marveled at how years of grief began to melt into connection, casting shadows aside. As her relatives began sharing their own stories, a tapestry of shared pain and ultimately, strength wove through the room. "We have the chance to reclaim our legacy," Uncle Bill declared, his words ringing with vigor. "Not only for ourselves but for future generations." As conversations flowed, smiles broke through tears, and laughter soon intertwined with the echoes of long-held grievances, moments healing the cracks in their shared history. When it was Emma's turn to speak again, she felt the palpable energy in the room as she passionately declared, "This is our opportunity. To unite, to honor the past, and to dismantle the shadows that once defined us. Together, we can build something beautiful from the remnants of what was." And in that moment of shared promise, she felt truly free, a guiding light illuminating the path ahead. Just as the evening began to blend softly into night, a sharp knock echoed through the living room. Emma's heart seized as her breath caught. Who could that be? Tom exchanged glances with her, a mix of apprehension and resolution crossing their faces. As they all looked towards the door, together they knew they would face whatever came through because they stood united against the storm. "Ready?" Emma whispered to Tom as the door creaked open. "For whatever happens next," he said, his hand grasping hers tightly as the path ahead crackled with undeniable potential. As the door swung wide, their family faced the horizon, ready to embrace whatever life had in store, bold and unyielding, heart steady with newfound strength. Now was Emma's moment, one she had longed for. And as the future awaited, the legacy that beckoned felt like an open book, and they stood ready to write their own story. The once muted echoes of abandonment transformed into the beautiful symphony of family, one born from love, resilience, and renewed hope. Together, with hands held tightly, they prepared to turn the pages of a legacy that would transcend time, because in unity, they found their greatest strength. Now is the time for you to act. If this story inspired you, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss more exclusive tales like this. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below with your thoughts about Emma's journey and how it made you feel. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. They deserve to witness the power of family bonds too.